boom, 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 after. Finally, we're here. We're ready to talk about NRG Esports. It's been a minute, and intentionally so. I wanted to wait, not this long, but I wanted to wait until Obey had their roster announced. Now, if you guys haven't been following along, Raffer went to Obey to play support, and from Obey came Emilzy to play support. Now, Maniac, he just couldn't find a picture with Maniac in it, but it's an interesting note, and we'll come back to it later. But right now, let's talk Emilzy, okay? Emilzy is going to be the support player for this team. That's all well and good. I love the way that this picture is sort of laid out, because it puts Emilzy right in the middle. I pointed to Yaman, right in the middle. Not only is he playing support, but he's going to be playing some sort of de facto leader. Was Raffer the #1 shot caller for NRG? Not all the time, but he was sort of the de facto leader. A lot of these guys are kind of on the quiet side. You need that sort of media guy. Also in-game as well. I think Raffer has a sort of swag that's very important to sort of being the team. And I'm going to miss that. I'm really going to miss that. Who else is going to air hump the trophy, right? Like, that's a big deal. Now, it's not gameplay related, but I think that sort of identity, that sort of character is important. I'm not a fan of what Emilzy brings outside of the game. I am not an Emilzy fan of his character and kind of what he does. Shout out to the content he's been making, though, and that could be a really big swing up, and I'll mention that in a moment. But the team is definitely losing that sort of Raffer flavor, that sort of like kind of in your face but still playful attitude. Maniac can kind of bring that, but ain't nobody like Raffer, and I'm definitely gonna miss that. I think fans will definitely miss that. What made NRG might not be there, and now I'm gonna say including the gameplay. Aggro did a team fight breakdown a little while ago. I'll link it in the description if I remember. That showed some NRG team fights, and time again, it was Raffer starting everything and getting himself in trouble and getting the team there and creating moments for the team to find little victories. This has been the case since they were known as Panthera, going back to I don't know how long. Epsilon. This has sort of always been the case. As a viewer, you watch, and Raffer is the one sort of setting things up. Now, can this team do without Raffer? Can they succeed with Emilzy? Absolutely. Yaman, one of the best players in his position, top 3. Emilito, one of the best players in his position, top 3. Adapting, one of the best players in his position, top 3. Maniac, I don't know if I can say one of the best players in his position, top 3, but I can absolutely say if I'm having a pro league team, I kind of want Maniac on it. Very, very good players. 4 very, very good players. 4 world-class players. Now, you're losing Raffer, and I've mentioned what a big deal that is. However, these 4 players are good enough to play with Emilzy as well. Frankly, they're good enough to play with whomever as well. I don't think that this change will gut the team, because I don't think that's possible with talent level like Yaman and Emilito and Adapting and even Maniac, right? I just don't think it's possible to gut this team. And Emilzy is not a bad player. I don't happen to think he's the #1 support worldwide. I think that there are players like Raffer who have a wider breadth of accomplishments. But Emilzy is certainly up there and ready to do battle. I'm not concerned with Emilzy. I'm not concerned with this team right then and there. Really, what I'm concerned about, like I said, is that identity, and that might not impact gameplay, but that will impact how the team is affected off the field, so to speak, off the court, off the battlefield, off the computer, whatever you want to say. When it came down to it, I think that these personalities started to grate on each other. Not that they were fighting, but it's just over. Raffer went his separate way. Interesting, actually, about this picture. Smite, I couldn't find a picture of this team with Maniac. Excuse me, this way? Yeah. I couldn't find a picture of this team with Maniac, so I kind of shoved him on there. But it's kind of telling. Maniac was booted and re-brought on this team 20,000 times during the offseason. A lot of these guys tried to build a separate team completely, but couldn't because of contract agreements and all that nonsense, red tape behind the scenes. So this isn't even the team that these guys wanted to create from the get-go. This is sort of the number 2, right? Is that going to have an effect? Is Maniac kind of just said like, all right, no big deal, not a big deal, I'm not too concerned. Will that bother him later on down the line? What happens when those contractual agreements become public and everything's all good and they can make the changes they want? Do people have to worry about their job? Waking up every day and worrying about the safety of your job is not a fun place to be in. Now, as a professional athlete, like we see in sports, or a professional player, like we see in esports, you kind of got to get used to that. So that's certainly something that Maniac and maybe his teammates will have to get used to. But just from the cut and dry here, Emilzy out for Raffer. I think that most other teams would suffer because Raffer is a playmaker. Raffer is a guy that does the do without many people noticing. He's a quiet guy when it comes to talking about his own accomplishments. He doesn't sit there and sort of shout it from the rooftops, but he gets it done. And like I said, I think the culture of the team is important as well, and you're losing that by losing Raffer. I think that's certainly true. Emilzy coming in, though, with no slack, and the players around him can certainly perform. NRG will still be successful. Will they be World Championship successful? That's another question that I don't have an answer to. Next time, we're going to be covering Obey. Thank you for watching. Shout outs, as always, to Into the AM for keeping it alive. I'm wearing Into the AM right now. Use code FDOT. Save yourself a couple of bucks. As always, do the commenting and the reporting and the liking and the redditing and all that shit. I like you. I hope you like me. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. And much love to you. FDOT. That's it. That's the outro. 1.